Hi, my name's Michelle. I'm 39 years old and I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I've recently had thumb joint replacement, and I wanted to record something to help other people because when I was trying to research surgery and recovery processes, there wasn't very much out there, and I'm one of those people that I do like to find videos, see what people have had done and see their progress. So I'm really doing this to help other people make that decision as to whether to have the surgery done. Right, my history is dislocating thumbs completely. With my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I dislocate regularly, and have done since childhood really. My thumbs have been dislocating 40 plus times a day for as long as I can remember. This last year, my GP sent me for some x-rays. X-ray were concerned about the pictures, so sent me straight to A&E. Basically, A&E told me it was dislocated. It wasn't dislocated, that was its natural sitting position. So they put me in touch with the hand surgeon. Saw him quite quickly. He sent me for like x-rays, so both hands together on an x-ray so he could compare both. Basically, some people call it basal joint, some people call it CMJ. It's the very bottom part of the thumb. It wasn't sitting in a socket at all. It was completely worn away. I went on the waiting list for joint replacement surgery. My surgeon is one of very few that offer this type of surgery in the UK. He's done, I think, about 250, 270 surgeries, so he was confident in the surgery, but what he wasn't confident on is operating on somebody with Ehlers-Danlos. So he put his concerns to me. Obviously I had confidence in him anyway because I've had previous carpal tunnel surgery with him. He's a very good surgeon. But I wanted to go away and research this surgery, so I found lots on operations, but not much on how people recovered and how they felt, and how much movement they had, how long the process took. So I'm basically coming on to say I waited 3 months for surgery, which wasn't very long at all, and I went in as a day case. But right up until surgery, my surgeon was still trying to find another solution to my problem because I was only 39. In his head, osteoarthritis is for older people that their joints have worn out with age. He had to get his head around my joints were osteoarthritis because they dislocated and the whole socket had gone. I mean, I've got other osteoarthritis diagnosed joints that do need looking at, but this was a big problem for my surgeon because in his head at 39 he shouldn't be operating on somebody like me for this type of surgery. So right up till surgery he was still trying to find, could we do injections, can we do a sling, which basically would hold the thumb to the forefinger with a sling across. Fusion, could we fuse the base socket? But being young, I've got 2 young children, 8 and 5, both with health problems, so keeping my movement in my thumb was really important. I've had years of not being able to hold a pen properly, use scissors properly, hold a cup. Normally I couldn't grip a cup. Driving, I've been driving without a thumb for as long as I can remember in a splint because I haven't been able to grip the steering wheel. So it was causing me lots of problems. So he agreed to go in and see what he could do. He didn't know what sort of socket he was going to do. His answer to me was, I've got everything I need at surgery to make a decision when I go in. So I was quite nervous because I didn't know what was going to happen until I woke up. But I had to trust that he would make the right decision. So basically The main thing he was concerned about was a joint replacement in your thumb can still dislocate. So he basically told me that we would need a bigger ball and socket to hopefully stop it dislocating in the future, because he didn't want me to go through all of this and still have a dislocating thumb. So went for surgery, woke up, had a thumb splint bandage on, a bit like a cast when you have scaphoid fracture, but it was only a bandage up to about here on my wrist, so it immobilises the thumb completely. I had, during surgery, the anaesthetist had discussed with me having I think it's called a regional anaesthetic. It's basically a nerve block in your arm. So they inject in your armpit and it deadens the arm, so you've got like a paralysed arm. But it helps with pain relief straight after. Personally, the numbness and the deadness of the arm was as uncomfortable for me. I didn't find it an easy 24 hours having this paralysed arm at all. Woke up with it in a sling. Physically, you've got no muscle movements, you've got no feeling, because it's so numb, it feels hot. Psychologically, you can't get your head around, you can't move your fingers, you can touch your hand, but you can't feel anything. So it wasn't a comfortable experience for me, but it did help with pain relief. So I had surgery, we're now on Monday, the 13th, I think it is, or 14th, Monday the 14th, I think it is, of November. I had my surgery on the 27th of October, so I'm not even 3 weeks post-surgery. I wasn't in as much pain as I thought I was going to be in, to be honest. I expected it to be a lot worse. My nerve block lasted 24 hours, and it kind of, I got a bit more feeling back as the day went on the Friday. I had surgery on a Thursday. So by Friday evening, all I was doing on top of my regular pain medication, which I take for my joint pain anyway, was topping up with some paracetamol. I was on diclofenac sodium for anti-inflammatory and dihydrocodeine, and then I take other nighttime amitriptyline and other meds to help with sleep. So all I took was extra paracetamol in between to pace out the dosages, really. So I had pain Friday, Saturday. Sunday I was just groggy from the anaesthetics. I had a general. But overall, I was really, really surprised how much I could do. And I mean, I had my right hand done, which was my dominant hand. So I've got 2 young children. So being without your dominant hand is scary. And I had moments where I was kind of, I can't have this surgery done because it's just going to be too hard. Can't drive. I use a wheelchair, a power electric wheelchair. I had to change my gear knob over to the other side in preparation for this surgery. This was a big deal. So I had 2 weeks till I saw the surgeon. I had my stitches out 4 days ago, and I have been left with a really neat scar. I've got a really neat scar from here to there, as you can see, and I've got quite a lot of movement back already. I've still got some swelling over my pad, but I'm starting to be able to get some movement back on my thumb already, and this is not even 3 weeks post-surgery. And honestly, anybody who's worried about having this done, I know everybody deals with things differently, this was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm still not driving. He did say, normally he says 6 weeks for driving, but because of my situation, and I have an automatic car and it is part of my independence, I have to drive because of being a wheelchair user, then he's happy for me to drive when I feel ready. I've still got my husband off work for another week, so I am going to rest for a bit longer before I have surgery done, before I go back to driving post-surgery. So I'm hoping to try and drive by the end of the week, which will be just over 3 weeks from surgery. but I'm happy to wait a bit longer if I'm not comfortable. I'm waiting to start hand therapy, but because I have had a lot of hand therapy, I'm doing some gentle exercises that I should be doing. So for 18 days post-surgery, I've already got some movement back, and I can spin it a little bit. I can pinch. It's very tight. It's really tight over the scar more than anything. I've still got a lot of sensation loss over this area of the pad, but overall I've been really surprised, and I wanted you guys to know that this was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because I'd built myself up for such trauma post-surgery and I wouldn't be able to do this. Within about 4 days I was being able to use my fingers to do stuff. I could, the hardest thing of surgery was cleaning my teeth and pulling my trousers up. They were the only two things I really struggled with, and I'm quite a determined person, so I think some of it is down to mental positivity and mental ability. So I think that definitely has helped me. But I'm back to see my surgeon in 2 more weeks for a review with him. I do need the other thumb doing at some point, but at the moment it is not hurting me the way that my other hand was hurting me. It was like burning. So on top of the loss of movement and the restricted use of it, I had this burning pain all the time, and it was tear wrenching at times. It was so painful. So my left one is dislocating and my left one does need doing, but I'm going to put that off for as long as possible, again because it's an 8 to 10 year life of the joint. So at 39 I'm going to need a lot of surgery to put new joints in the future. So I'm going to keep a little progress going for you guys. So at the moment I'm working on up and down, round and round. I've started my pinching. I'm going to try and build up, because I've lost a lot of flex in my wrist as well, because it's at the base. I've lost a lot of, like literally I can hardly move it to side, because it's at the basal joint of the thumb, which joins the wrist, so it's going to cause problems. But to be honest, for not even 3 weeks post surgery, I'm doing pretty good. So I wanted people to know that if this isn't something that's been discussed with you, it's not as traumatic. I think a lot of it's to do with how you cope with stuff, your support network around you. I've had my husband off for 2.5 weeks. My kids have been amazing, but I'm pretty tough and I'm pretty determined. I've still been cooking, I've still been doing stuff. Not much with my right hand, but obviously once you can move it, you can use your fingers to do tasks. So yeah, just don't be scared. If there's any questions, then I'm sure you can leave comments and stuff. And wishing you all the best if this is a route that you need to have done. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you all soon.